Murphy-Droomer is my name, and I want to warmly welcome you to this interview in the series that is all about unleashing the audacious woman within. Today's guest is Tara Garrison. Tara has a truly inspiring story of rock bottom to absolutely thriving. Her knowledge around nutrition, movement, and mindset is phenomenal, and I cannot wait to introduce you and to dive into her amazing pool of wisdom. Welcome, Tara, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to dive into this conversation that my audience knows that I'm very passionate about nutrition and food, but the exercise I really haven't got down pat. So I'm excited to dive into this. For those in our audience that actually haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, Tara, would you take a minute just to introduce yourself and let us know, how did you come to be doing the work that you do now?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I just want to say that's awesome that your first interest has been the food side of things. So I feel like for a lot of people, that's the last piece that comes together. They think I'm just going to work out and get healthy. And it's like, no, actually that's just the icing on the cake. So that's amazing. So a little about me, my background. 6 years ago, I was an overweight stay-at-home mom. I have 4 kids. And wow, like when I started to get in shape, for me, I did go the exercise route first, right? And I like to talk about that because I feel like a lot of women can relate to that, and you're just spinning your wheels until you get that on point. But I figured it out, and we can go into that in a minute, but it became this ultimate passion. I call it the gateway drug to personal awakening, getting healthy in your mind and your body. And I started to feel more empowered and strong and really start to find out what I was capable of, frankly. And so now I've become a certified personal trainer and nutritionist and mindset coach. So I work with women all over the world on not only helping them with their training and nutrition, but also their mindsets and dealing with some of the limiting factors that hold us back that are causing them to not be able to get where they want to get in their fitness. So that's me.
Yeah, amazing. I think that maybe even though food sometimes comes second, I think, I'm really interested in your take on keto and why you went that route. So maybe for those that, everybody's heard of keto, but may not have an understanding of what it actually is. Maybe if we start there, why did you choose that route and what is keto?
Sure. So starting out, what is keto? So going in a state of nutritional ketosis means that you limit carbohydrates so much that your body will, instead of running off glycolysis, which is the process of glucose and sugars, which is what our body will do if it has them. When you limit them, typically under like 20 grams a day, now your body will be forced to run off a different system in which it takes fatty acids. So it can be, those fatty acids can be from your stored body fat or from fat that you eat, and it will metabolize them through your liver into ketones. And those ketone bodies now become the new primary fuel source for your body. And it's actually, it began as a treatment for epilepsy. And what they found is, while it was a miracle for epilepsy, which is when you have seizures, and helping people overcome that, also they found people were losing quite a bit of weight, right? So this is, it's been a long journey. That was in the early 1900s that was discovered. And now it's, become a process of, now it's kind of become this popular weight loss approach. But the thing about it is, like, at its core, it's a therapeutic intervention with nutrition. And so I use it on people from anything from hypothyroidism to diabetes, to neurological disorders, to gut dysfunction, to even ADHD, autism, we're showing promise with. So it is a very effective fat loss diet, but it's also very anti-inflammatory. Ketones in and of themselves are anti-inflammatory. So if you have any sort of inflammatory issue in your body, really helps with that. Carbs are a little bit inflammatory. I am by no means a hater or opposer of carbohydrates. In fact, my entire approach is, my tagline is do keto, not forever. I believe that most people will have benefit from going through a phase of a ketogenic diet and teach your body how to use the other side of your metabolism. Like, when's the last time you did that? When's the last time you fasted for 24 hours? Have you ever done that? Does your body freak out in the absence of glucose? Because guess what? It doesn't have to, right? So that that's really cool for people to find that out and to say, wow, like I didn't know if I actually go without food or go without carbs after a few days, I feel like a superhuman. I have all this mental clarity. I have all this different kind of energy. Superhuman energy is kind of what a lot of people experience. And so that's keto in a nutshell, is teaching your body to run off this other half of your metabolism.
Yeah.
You know, if we lived in nature, nature is my
Yeah.
measuring stick. Okay. Are we mimicking nature? That's all I want to do. Nature is my teacher. It's my guide. And I say, okay, if we lived in nature, would we go long periods of time without food and have to go into ketosis? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, the human body was evolved on periods of fasting, period, end of story. Like our bodies are designed to be able to do it and do it well. And what's really interesting is that you actually will, for most people, increase mental clarity quite a bit as long as salt and minerals are on point, which I think would probably be a wonderful piece of evolution for humans to be able to hunt and go find food. You don't want to be brain dead when you need to go find more food, right? So it's really a really wildly impactful experience for most people who try it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we need to be there forever. Just like nature, if we found a tree full of fruit or a bush full of berries, we would eat, we would feast, we would enjoy, right? And so I'm also a fan of bringing in carbohydrates and at the right time, in the right way. Seasonally is amazing. Also, you know, if you're very, very active, like me, I like to hit the pedal to the metal in the gym. If you're a pedal to the metal kind of person,
Yeah.
you're probably going to want some carbohydrates to support that kind of exercise.
Yeah.
But for most people, keto can be a really, really life-saving intervention, really, through nutrition.
Yeah, there's so many bits in there that I completely align with. And having been on I was very overweight as a teenager, and then lost weight and gained weight, and I've got 4 babies as well. So
Oh,
through
cool.
pregnancies, and then I did vegetarian, and then I did paleo, and
Uh-huh.
we
Uh-huh.
do these things. And I talk to clients about this. We find ourselves in these extremes, and I did that just recently. Realized that I had been eating a really paleo diet, almost no fruit, ignoring the things that you're talking about, which is the seasonal, like really looking at what's going on in nature around us.
Right.
And what I found was that bringing in some fruit in the mornings and less fat. I mean, I've been eating eggs for breakfast for, I've lost you, like 20 years.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
Bringing in some fruit in the morning has actually been amazing for my health. It's been really
Wow.
good. So I think it's, like I love these conversations because I think we can get in these extremes and sometimes
Yeah.
we don't even realize we're there. But looking to nature and what's going on around us is so key.
Oh yeah. And I love what you're saying there. And so much, many of my clients are very intuitive and I honor that. We're in this together. And so sometimes they will say like, I am just feeling so much like I need to go back in ketosis. I'm like, let's do it, girl.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're like, I'm feeling the need for more carbohydrates right now. So we'll match their training to it and honor that. But I think, you were kind of feeling like, I feel like I should bring some fruit back in and like honor that. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful, And for me, I'm like, I'm not turning down a fresh peach in the summer. Nope. If I go to Hawaii, I am not going to not eat dragon fruit or mango. I mean, if you have a therapeutic reason to
Yeah.
not have them, sure, but I don't. And there's no way I'm turning down these, like, I call them nature gifts. They're gifts from nature, and I think when they're available, I think that's such a beautiful thing, especially when it's local, grew right in the backyard of where you're at. That's so incredible. So I'm a big fan of, sometimes we do need to push into extremes.
Yeah.
If you've been eating all the carbs and you have a ton of weight to lose and you're insulin resistant, guess what? You probably should do keto for a little bit. Or something similar, low carbohydrate approach at least. So you are going to have to go extreme to make up for the extreme you were already in. It's kind of like a pendulum swing, but eventually restoring that back to balance, in my opinion, is always the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, there's so much confusion because of what we've talked about, all these different diets, all these different possibilities. So what I've found is that there's always going to be somebody that says keto is going to kill you, and then keto is going to save your life. And being vegan is the only way to eat, or it's, paleo is the only way to eat. And I just feel like the confusion around food and how we feed our bodies has got to the point of
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's the dogma. I feel you. I feel you 100%. It's very hard for me. When I see when I see nutritional dogma of this is the right way for all humans, I've gotten to a point of compassion for it,
Yeah,
because I just think, I'm like, you must not be working with people one-on-one,
yeah,
because any, like, I love naturopaths and functional medicine doctors. I love to have conversations with them
yeah,
about what they're experiencing with their clients. And they'll be the first to tell you
yeah,
that there's no one way for anyone, right? Like, it's,
yeah,
what do you have going on in your body? For me, I'm very insulin sensitive. I have great blood sugar management. I'm extremely active. For me, what makes sense in my body may not make sense for my client that is borderline diabetic, who has 45% body fat and hypothyroidism.
yeah,
Wow, we have a different environment, so we have different needs. And I think it's so important right now in this information age, where it's like, well, she's doing it and she
yeah,
looks great and she says it's awesome,
yeah.
so I must need to be carnivore because she does it, and look at her, she's jacked and she's glowing, and I mean, that must be the way. And it's like, for her, that she's found a great fit, and that might not be the way for her forever, and I can almost guarantee you it won't be the perfect way for her forever. So there is a great degree, in my opinion, of self-experimentation that's necessary, and also honoring your intuition, your God-given intuition. If it feels wrong, stop.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. I can't tell you how many women, especially, that I've worked with, that I have had to just give them permission to listen to their intuition and just say, yes, I know that's so awesome. You lost 100 pounds on keto. That's so cool. I think your adrenaline and cortisol are through the roof now. So now it's time to come back down. Like, you did the work, you improved it. And they're like, I've been feeling that. I've been feeling like I need carbs again. And I'm like, let's do it. And then it's so beautiful. So most of the time I have found, if your intuition is telling you something, you probably should listen to it in regards to your health.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I just think that's such a powerful message. And, I think it's really important that we also don't get caught up in that forever, which you've
Yeah.
touched on as well, because I recently picked up the medical mediums books, and he's like, no eggs. And I've done a show
Yeah.
before with 23 experts in the nutrition field. Every single one of them said eggs are awesome. And I know
Yeah.
people that, like, prescribe eggs as part of a gut healing protocol
Right.
with great results. But
Right.
the medical medium also gets great results. So we've just got
Right.
to trust ourselves and our own.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for you, it's like, that's even veganism, in the keto paleo world, veganism is it's almost hated, it's like mocked.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
that, because I'm like, who's to say that for whatever series of crazy complicated
Yeah.
things happening in that person's body, that they don't need that right now.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if you are vegan, don't get dogmatic about it. Maybe that's only for a season. Maybe, just like, be open is what I would encourage, and experiment on yourself. For me personally, I was keto for over a year. I don't think I needed to be purely in ketosis for that long. I got diminishing returns, and that is actually why I developed my whole keto in and out system, is what I call it, is so it's getting metabolically flexible, making sure you can go into ketosis. That's important. That's part of a healthy metabolism. But then exploring to see how you do while bringing some carbohydrates back in, and matching your training to that intelligently, and seeing how your body responds.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm have people like, oh my gosh, yes, I just needed some carbs. And some people are like, no, my body just still does not like carbs. I'm like, okay, stay in keto, So it's beautiful to just play with it a little, and see where you level out. Cause while it's like what's the saying? Like, one man's bread is another man's poison, or something like, but I can't remember. Somebody's probably going to be like, no, girl, that is not it. But you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? What might
Yeah.
be really good for one person may be horrible for another. So you got to find out, you got to be your own advocate, your own coach, and your own explorer in regards to your health, and see what fits. And you're going to know, if there's nothing wrong with you, if something didn't work great for you that worked for the next person, that's okay.
Yeah.
Keep experimenting. You're going to know when it makes you feel awesome. So
Yeah.
just keep playing with it.
Yeah. And it's not only in our physical body, it's our mental health as well, which is a
Totally.
big one that a lot of people miss. I know that I did a huge cleanse earlier this year, and a few months down the track, my daughter had made a cheesecake and nachos. She loves being in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, stop it. And I had it the next day. I was so flat and teary and unhappy. And once
Wow.
upon a time, I would have never made that connection. But
Right.
it mucks with my mental health if I eat the wrong things. It just does.
Oh, I love that you're saying this. So much of my approach now has shifted from body composition to brain, because when
Yeah.
your brain is optimized, which really starts in your gut, obviously, but when your brain is optimized, everything else just starts to fall in place. And I think because I've achieved a certain level of muscle mass, I can get away. Now it's crazy to me now because I grew up chubby. I was always just starting in like third grade. It was like my mom was like, sweetheart, you might want to just be a little careful. I'm like, I had no idea. I'm just downing bags of chips and, just
Yeah.
little kid processed food in the 90s. That's how it was.
Yeah.
And always struggled with weight. And so it's crazy to me now that I have developed this body composition shift from lifting weights and gaining muscle that now I can get away with a lot. Right. So it's weird to be that person, especially also like doing fasting and going low carb. I feel like I can kind of handle my carbs now personally. But what I've learned is, sure, could I have a piece of chocolate cake once in a while and it wouldn't dent anything really that much? Yep. But guess what I notice? Zero productivity for like 2 or 3 hours afterwards. And I can't afford that. I can't, my clients need me, my kids need me, I need me. And so now it has become more about like, it's not so hard to say no to chocolate cake when you're like, I could just have actually like a low carb bar or treat instead if I'm really
Yeah.
hurting for a treat that bad
Yeah.
and still be productive. Yay. Right. So that brain power, man, once
Yeah.
you feel that on the daily, it's hard to let it go.
Yeah, it's a classic that I say with my clients. It's like the better we feel, the better we treat ourselves. The worse we feel, the worse we treat ourselves. So you've just
So
got to get
true.
yourself on that upward.
Yes.
And,
Amen.
it all starts to work. So I know there's just one question that I know is going to be coming up in people's minds is, how do I know I'm in keto?
Sure. Yeah. So, if you want to actually test your blood, that is kind of the gold standard way of testing. So you would prick your finger and you would see if it says 0.5 millimole or above is what we consider nutritional ketosis.
Yeah.
There's also breath testers you can do. Those are fine. There are urine strips. I don't really recommend those. What that's representing is how many ketones you're wasting in your urine. So what happens a lot with those is you'll see them at first because your body will waste ketones quite a bit in the beginning because it's like, what are these ketone bodies? It doesn't know what to do with them. But then it will start to use them more and more. And so sometimes people will actually be in ketosis, but they're not wasting as many in their urine. And so it will come up lighter and they're like, it's not working. And they give up. And I'm like, so I just don't even, they work a little, but I just don't really have people bother with the urine strips for that reason. So
Yeah.
those are like the actual ways to test. Some biofeedback you can look for is some people have really extreme mental clarity. I'm one of those people. Like if I drink ketones, you can do ketone esters or ketone salts, which is like a powdery, usually fruity flavored mix you put in water, and you can drink those and see what keto feels like a little bit. When I do that, I get extreme mental clarity. And while this is not proven in research, this is just from people in the field, talking amongst ourselves. But what they've noticed a link between is people who are predisposed for Alzheimer's tend to notice a bigger boost in cognitive performance on keto. Because I've had many clients say like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't experience that huge mental clarity thing. I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, that's like the only reason I like being in ketosis. I feel like a superhuman. It feels like my whole brain just unlocks, right? And my mom actually has the beginnings of Alzheimer's and had type 2 diabetes. And so I think that people who I am probably prone to have a little bit more insulin resistance in my brain, possibly, or impaired glucose metabolism. So those ketones pass through your brain. And for me and a lot of people, you do notice quite a bit of mental clarity boost.
Yeah.
Other things you might experience are nonstop energy throughout the day. So there's no lull in the afternoon. I don't even remember what it feels like to like
Yeah.
feel sleepy in the late afternoon. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that,
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you can look at. As long as you're not dehydrated, which PS, if anyone's going to try keto after listening to this, please make sure you stay on top of your salt.
Yeah.
That is the key. If you're ever feeling lightheaded or confused or super low energy past like the first couple of days, you're most likely just dehydrated because your kidneys will excrete sodium, potassium, magnesium at a much faster rate when you're in ketosis. So you need to make sure you have way more salt than usual, about 2 teaspoons and half your body weight or more in ounces of water, 2 teaspoons of salt, and then that much water a day to kind of offset the diuresis of fasting or being in nutritional ketosis, which is like it has a diuretic effect. So, but yeah, those are kind of some things that you'll want to look for, is just like if you're having a lot of mental clarity, you're having more energy, no drops during the day. Those are some biofeedback you can get. And then of course you can always test your ketones and actually find out, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed is the moods, the mood swings just flatten out completely. Like I don't get that kind of grumpy in the afternoon along with the tired. And
yeah, I always say, if you get hangry a lot, I always tell people, I'm like, your life doesn't have to be like that anymore. You doesn't. And even after you've, brought some carbohydrates back in, you tend to keep that effect for quite a long while. So if you're one of those people that you're like, I'm going to freaking kill people when I get hungry, that's a sign that your metabolism is not easily converting into ketosis like it could. So it's like, wow, there's this whole, and it's not other people are special and you can't be like that. Yes, you can. I used to hear like, oh, I'm just not hungry. And I'm like, that's definitely not going to be me. I am always hungry. But it is true. When your body knows what to do, when it's running low on glucose, it just can easily transition to burning your fat stores. Yay. That's something really cool to do for yourself. And because of that, your brain doesn't go red alert, we're going to die if you don't get more glucose right now. And so you don't get that crazy hangry, I'm going to kill somebody if I don't get food kind of feeling, which is a huge gift to give yourself and your family and friends.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So we've done a lovely wrap up of diet and giving people, sort of an idea about that. I think that if I can just drop in a couple of keys that I think are so important, it's like, look to nature. For goodness sake, if you're getting confused, let's start with what's going on around us, and the seasonal, they're my grounding philosophies, looking to nature, and then we can start to play in that area.
Definitely.
Do you want to add anything to that?
No, amen. I mean, nature is my teacher. I can't even tell you. Nature is the master healer. It's just go out in nature, let it heal you, observe what nature does, bring that into your modern lifestyle as much as possible. You're gonna be just fine. Anything from nutrition to even like cold showers as an example. Would I get in cold water in nature? Absolutely. So I'm going to do that, because it has so many benefits for our health and our mental health as well. So look to nature. Amen. That is definitely the master teacher in health.
I talk about nature, the universe or God or divine, however we describe it, will tap you on the shoulder with these messages that you need to hear. And I've had this ongoing tap on my shoulders that come up in a few of these interviews about, like the Wim Hof, the cold water therapy. And to me, it's like total torture. I can't think of anything worse, but I'm continuing to get the message.
Wow. So amazing. Yeah. So Wim Hof is like, I like cry when I listen to him, because the universe told him to do something really hard and he freaking did it. And look how many lives he's changed. And I'll tell you, if anybody listening to this is stressed, one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself is practicing cold therapy on the daily. Now, I love to go to a spa and do a spa day where they have a cold plunge, but how often am I really doing that? Once every 4, 5, 6 months. That's not very consistent. But cold showers I can do on the daily. And here in Utah, where I live, we're in the Rocky Mountains. It gets extremely cold in the winter and the ground freezes and the water gets really, really cold. I've been to Florida and some of these warmer places, and I'm like, you guys have cool showers. That's good. Just do cool showers. That helps. But if you can get somewhere where it's cold outside and do cold showers, I'm telling you, I was going through one of the most stressful life transitions, like just terrifying life transition, no safety net, no one to help me. And it was scary. And I did cold showers every single day during that transition. And at first, when you first do them, you'll be like this, whoa, whoa. You will freak out because you don't yet have control over your autonomic nervous system, right? So you have that huge stress response. And after a while, you will become stoic and you will go straight into breath. And instead of freaking out, you have now become a master of your stress response, and you will just breathe and you will want it. You will say, come on, baby. And you'll put it like all on the top of your spine and under your armpits and on your face. And you're like, bring it. And my rule is I can't get out of the shower until I don't want to anymore on the cold. So the way I do it is I take a regular hot shower. I'm not that awesome. I take a regular hot shower to begin with, and then I turn it to cold at the end. I started with 15 seconds, then 30, then 45, then 60. I'm kind of guessing. I don't know. I don't have a clock I can see. So I'm just kind of guessing, and just breathe. And the more you can get into that place of just pure control of your stress response, I'm telling you, it will infiltrate every area of your life. You will know, you will become completely different. That is what I've experienced. Not only that, but you increase your brown fat adipose tissue. So it's more mitochondrial dense, metabolically active fat that increases metabolism, keeps you warm. My ability to manage my own body temperature went through the roof that winter. I was cruising around in the snow in like tank tops and booty shorts after the gym, like all day. Old people are like, did you forget your jacket? And I'm like, no, I'm good. So really, really amazing. Can't recommend it enough.
Wow. Okay. We needed to have that conversation. That was
Yeah.
unexpected, but I know that I need to let that sink in. Okay, so let's dive into exercise, movement, why building muscle is so important, Tara.
Absolutely. I love to talk about this. So, I mean, I grew up overweight little kid, totally addicted to fast food. In sixth grade, I remember my lunch every day was an iced honey bun. So this pre-packaged, like disgusting, just a gluten sugar bomb with who knows what kind of oils in it. Every day I had a honey bun and a can of Hawaiian punch. That's probably like 50 grams of sugar, right? So that is like, if that gives you a glimpse of what my normal was, even as an adult, fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, to like pizza, my kids' macaroni and cheese, grilled cheese sandwiches, white bread, ramen noodles, the full bit. Like even as an adult, that if cereal was dessert, cold cereal, Reese's Puffs, all of that. So I've lived that life as an adult. I didn't even realize how sad I was, first of all. I didn't even realize how out of my purpose I was living. I feel dead. When I look back at that time in my life, I just feel like I was asleep. And then for me, the entry point to really getting healthy was actually lifting weights. And I love to talk about this to everyone, specifically women, because I feel like women need to hear it a little more, because guys are kind of almost expected to lift weights. Yeah. Women, it's like kind of a weird thing. It's kind of optional. It's like, oh, are you going to be a weightlifting person or not? Right. Yeah. And I am here to say I have gone the other route. So my mom was a track star. My mom was a runner. She went to the Olympic trials in 1968. It was her pride and joy. She would bring us to the track as little kids. I would play in the long jump sand and kind of run with her a little bit. So I always ran. And after my fourth, I was even running full 26.2 mile marathons, full marathons, still wasn't losing the weight. I was like around 175 pounds, which is about 80 kilos, we figured out. And I just like couldn't lose the weight. And I was running and I was going to workout classes and I was doing all those things that women do, right? It's cardio class running and trying to eat better. I didn't really know what that looked like. It was like, try to eat less or try to eat a salad or, like it's very typical. I feel like what a lot of women do. Yeah. Wasn't working. And eventually I actually, it's crazy how it happened, but I just got tired of dropping my kids off in the daycare at the gym and it eating up my whole morning. I was like, I feel like I'm wasting half of my life away, like going to the gym. So I quit that fancy gym that had the classes and the daycare and all that. And I joined this little teeny tiny gym right down the street from me. It was like $10 a month. And all they had was cardio equipment and weights. That's it. That's the only thing in there. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to figure out how to lose weight. And so I did. So I started to research it. I started to get into it. And I tell this story because I feel like it helps anybody who's intimidated in the gym know, now I'm a trainer. I get it. I've got muscle. I'm like, but when I first started, It was so humbling. And I know a lot of people are intimidated to go into the gym
Yeah.
and they're embarrassed and they think everyone's watching them and they don't know how to use the weights. And I get it. And my message to you is get over yourself, do it anyway, get over your ego. Nobody cares. I'm very experienced trainer now. I see all sorts of people doing all sorts of stuff. I don't care. I'm just glad they're in there learning and growing. Okay. But when I first came in, I had a piece of paper that my friend who was a trainer at the time gave me. And I literally had written down on this piece of notebook paper, arms out to sides, arms out to front. Like, I didn't even know what lateral raises and front raises were called. Like, I'm just like arms out to sides.
Yeah.
And I did that arm workout she gave me for 4 months before I had the courage. I mean, that was the only workout I did with weights before I had the courage to branch out and actually start looking up some other workouts. So I share that because, you know, start somewhere, have the courage. And what happened was I really started to notice that I was building muscle. After a while, I started to notice that I was like actually feeling muscles burn. Cause at first I didn't have that connection to my muscles. And many women experience this. And I think it holds them back from wanting to gain muscle. Cause they're like, I don't feel like I'm getting a workout. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't feel anything. That's not really fun, but I'm telling you, if you can get past that hump, you will start to develop that mind muscle connection and you will start to build muscle. And for me, what happened there was after I started to build muscle, 8 months of every single night, I was putting my kids to bed, going to the gym. I was like, I'm like a bodybuilder now. 8 months later, I go to a family reunion. I see a picture of myself and I look exactly the same. Nothing's changed. I'm like, wow, you cannot even tell. I feel like my whole life is dedicated to this now and you can't even tell. And that's when the nutrition piece came in for me. I was like, I want to see this muscle. I want to see it. I have been working so hard. I want to see it. And so that's when I went low carb and really picked up the whole food approach. I mean, basically everything I was eating was whole foods. And that's when it started happening like magic once the nutrition piece came in. But what I want to share is that for me, you know, before it was, I can only eat like maybe 1,500 calories a day, probably less, and I barely get results. Now I'm eating over 2,000 calories a day and I'm way leaner than I ever was. And that's because so much of my food is going towards muscle. And that is amazing because now I have energy. I have functional body weight that moves me, not holds me back. And so for women, I love to share that message because I'm like, if you want food freedom, if you want to be able to eat food and have all the nutrients from all that food coming in and feel free and not have to feel so freaking strict about calories all the time, build muscle. It feels amazing. And you're like a beast. You can go forever. You like nonstop. You have so much energy throughout the day. So such a huge advocate of that for women.
Yeah. Cold showers and weights. You convinced me.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. Huge fan.
Yeah. I think it's also, it's such a trigger for me when I hear about women counting calories, because I just really want people to understand that calories aren't equal. You know, if we're eating calories in a lolly snake versus calories in a cucumber, it's just, they're not equal, the same amount of calories in both of those.
Not even close. The hormone shifts are insane. You know, it's a totally different response. And I will share, I got a little obsessed for a little while. And I actually got down to 11% body fat. I didn't know I was that lean. I didn't lose my period or anything. I thought I was like just fit and healthy. And I did that without counting a single calorie. So that's lower than I would like to see women get. I actually purposely gained some body fat back up. I was like, whoa, I didn't know I got that lean. But I'm just sharing that to say, like, you can achieve the goals that you want with your body without counting all of your food. For me, it was really just, I was obviously being careful to not overeat, but I also was eating whole foods. I mean, it's when you're eating, like when your big, food feast is a sweet potatoes that you've baked in avocado oil and salt. So it's going to be really different than milkshakes and candy and all of that. So it's really just, again, connecting back to nature, eating what we were intended to eat, and you will be so much better off for it. And there's no guilt. I don't mean to guilt anyone. If you eat pizza or ice cream sometimes, please don't guilt yourself. It's okay. That's just going to do tremendous damage. But for the most part, that self-loving, like I look at it as like feasting like a queen. You know, I'm like, does a queen want Pizza Hut? Like, I don't think so. Like, not really. Like, a queen wants like this lavish, you know, rich, decadent, amazing foods, high quality foods from nature. That's how I look at it. And when you get on that track, man, you're going to be loving the body you're in, and it has nothing to do with what you look like. It's just, you're going to feel amazing.
Yes, 100%, 100%. There, you know, we've got people all over the world tuning into this. I don't know what things are like exactly where you are here. I haven't been in a gym since March. Everything we're just, I think we
So,
might be just
okay.
out of lockdown now. So if people are feeling inspired like me and want to start picking up some weights, what can we start with at home, just as a kickoff?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, if you don't have any weights, because they're a little hard to come by right now. I have a client trying to get some, and I'm looking for her, and I'm like, wow, I can't find any. So if you can't find any right now, there's a lot of body weight options you can do. Actually, I will throw in for your listeners, I have a body weight program. It's called Fit from Home. I actually gave it away for free during coronavirus because I was like, people are going to get depressed if they don't move. Like, they got to move. So I was like, you just take it. Like, so I'll give you a link for that one. It's called Fit from Home. They're so, like, body weight can kick your butt. Some of my friends were posting, they were like, Tara, those workouts were so intense. I'm like, I know they look so easy on paper, right? It's like 6 exercises. You do that repeated 3 times, you are going to like, you're going to definitely get some progress, right? So there's so much you can do with body weight. If you also want to start doing just typical weights at home, I would say master the basics. Okay. The exercises that are bicep curls, tricep extensions. These are the reason they are basics, because they work, right? So, you know, master those basics. I do have like a 7-day training plan that I'll also give to your audience for free if you guys want to download that. It's not all free weights. There might be a few machines in there, but you can substitute some things. But if your gyms aren't open yet, you know, work on, what I would say is learning how to squeeze the target muscle and connect with it, right? So I always say to my clients, put your brain in your biceps right now. It's the only thing that exists in the whole world, is just your bicep, right? So starting to connect with your body. And it's actually a really beautiful thing, because it's just like connecting with your gut or your brain, and just kind of saying like, hey, like, I'm aware of you, I'm watching over you, I'm with you, right? And it's the same thing with your muscles. It's like, you know, giving them recognition instead of being completely out of touch with your body. So I'd say that's where I would start, is like getting that mind muscle connection, really being intentional about what you're doing, and just mastering the basics. Even a body weight squat, like, notice as you go down, like, what is working as you come up, like, just connect with your body. See if anything is saying, ouch, that hurts when you do that, right? Give it that awareness. It's just like, I look at the body as my child, right? I call it being the mom of your own body. And a loving approach, you know, kind of the body positivity movement is like, I just love my body. And then, like, that's it. And it's like, oh, okay, that's great. But, like, you know, if you love your kids, you don't say, I just love my kids, and then neglect them. And, like, don't, it's like, if they, for me, love is giving it the attention that it deserves. And, you know, of course, accepting it. It's not holding up some impossible standard that it can't ever, that would be abusive to your children, to be like, not good enough, not good enough. But, you know, connecting and being aware and saying, hey, like, I see you. Okay. I recognize that kind of hurts. So I'm going to be proactive enough to work on that. Maybe I need to stretch and do some yoga more. So that's where I would honestly start. If you're still at home right now, just master the basics. Do a squat, learn what a deadlift is, do some bicep curls. You know, can you do a push-up? Those kind of things. And then branch out from there.
Yeah. Awesome. 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 So, you know, like, we're getting closer to time, and there's another piece of your, you know, your wisdom bank that I want to dive into, because I think it's really important for women to hear right now. And that is how you actually got to this place. I know your story, you've touched on different bits of it, but I think it's really powerful if you could share that story.
Yeah.
And how you know, it came to this point where you are now.
Sure. Thank you for asking. I love to share this because so much of what lit a fire under me when I was at the like breaking point of I can't do this. I surrender. I give up. It was like, no, I know that there are women watching me that are they are watching to see, they saw me leave, the religion. I was in the LDS religion my whole life. I left that religion. I got divorced. I went on my own. I got in like a really crazy relationship that was not healthy. And when I broke away from all that, I knew people were watching. I knew people from my old life were like, what's going to happen? And I was like, I cannot show this journey of making these hard decisions, of choosing me and choosing what my gut and my intuition is telling me to do, and then just give up. So I was like, I've got to show women that you can listen to that intuition, listen to that thing that's saying, you've got to move on from this. You've got to go, you've got to move forward no matter how hard it is, and that things will actually turn out well. All right. So for me, in a nutshell, like after after I got divorced, I went into training. I was in this kind of unhealthy relationship. At the end of that, I truly, like, without getting too many details, I lost everything after that. I went through bankruptcy. I lost my car. He was showing me the ropes of entrepreneurship, but really just kind of helping himself to my money. And so everything was gone. I literally did not have a penny to my name. I had only the things in my car. And that was an ultimate low. It was like, you know what? I guess I was crazy. I guess I shouldn't have gone for this whole like health entrepreneur thing. I need to be like, I have kids. This was a pipe dream that didn't work out. I need a solid job, 9 to 5. I need life insurance. I need health insurance. Like, it's over, baby. Yeah. So I hit this breaking point where I went and I applied for a job at a dentist's office. I was like, yep. And it was like soul death to me. It was soul death. It was like, what was it all for? I just spent like so much money and time investing in my education, because I'm a super kind of overachiever type personality. Like, who's the best in the world? I want to learn from them. What's the best workshop? What's the best thing I can go to? I want that. So I had invested a lot into this journey. And when I applied at that dentist office, I drove to, Walmart. I don't know if you guys know what Walmart is over there, but it's not my favorite place. I had to get scrubs and I was just so depressed, and I bought my scrubs, and I was so down. And finally I just hit this ground zero. And that weekend I was like, no, I will not give up. I can do this. And I'm telling you, like, at this bottom point, I literally had at one point $17 to my name. I did not have any credit, any savings, any child support, any alimony, any family that could help me. Nothing. It was like, fly or die. Right. And so, I'm telling, if anybody's at that breaking point, if stuff's happened to you with coronavirus or whatever, where you are like totally starting from scratch, I'm telling you, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to you. Because Tony Robbins says that there's 2 things that can lead to success. And one is inspiration and one is desperation. I was like, I got both. I am guaranteed success here. I am very inspired. I am on my soul calling. I'm desperate. Right. So, man, I soul searched that weekend, and I realized, like, man, so many other people are doing this. Why can't I? I've got talent. I've got education. I just really had to get past some limiting mindsets about myself. And as soon as I made that switch, and it was like, I'm going for it, it was like the universe just rolled out the red carpet. It was like, here you go. Thank you for saying yes. We will help you. Don't give up. It was like my gym hired me. A bunch of people hired me online. Like, pretty soon, it was like within 2 months, I had to start doing a wait list for clients. I couldn't even believe it. And it was really, truly me limiting myself, not thinking that I could do it, not asking for it, not being proactive. And, I had so much demand that within less than a year, I had already passed 6 figures. I had like doubled the income in the job that I was in before within 2 months. It was just crazy what happened when I said yes to this soul calling that I was having. So I share that to women because I'm like, if you have this like soul calling and it's like, you need to be this yoga master or you need to do this, like, please go for it. Please go for it. Because if you will just get out of your own way and listen to that spirit or universe or God or whatever that is for you, and let it take you on the magical carpet ride, like in the movie Aladdin. Like, do you trust me? Just jump on, go for it. way, it will take you there, but so much of that is getting out of our own way and letting go of perfectionism and thinking that we have to be perfect, and I love to share that because now it is just like, I live a life that every single day I'm just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I get to serve women and help them get to this place on their own and see that they are capable of all these things, change their body, change their minds. And none of that could have been possible. I could be working 70 hours a week in a dentist's office right now if I wouldn't have gotten out of my own way and just said yes to what the universe was trying to ask me to do. So,
you're on track when you get to pinch yourself and go, I actually get paid to do this. I get to call this work. For me, it's
yep,
interesting. Like this is my happy space doing this.
totally.
And it's like, I get to call this work.
Totally. So grateful to all of my clients. I'm like, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for letting me into your life and your soul and sharing with me. It's so beautiful. So yeah, so grateful as well. And that's what I always tell my clients too. I'm like, what's the thing where you're like, oh yeah, that would be nice if I could do that. Do that one. That one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think right now with everything that's going on, we're at this beautiful, like a beautiful place. It's an opportunity to really look at that and go, what do I love? And we
Totally.
can turn just about anything into a career now.
Totally.
It's amazing what is available now to us. If we can get outside that box of, if I didn't learn it at uni, I can't really make a lot of money out of it, then the whole world opens up. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Even if it's like, I have a girl that does graphic design for me that lives in the Czech Republic, that she loves art. She's a beautiful artist. I love her work. Like, she gets to just do art all day and people hire her all over the world. Like, there's nothing that we can't do if we just pursue what we love. And I think what a waste it is for your divine soul, all those talents, everything you've been given, to be funneled into something you hate. Oh my gosh, somebody else probably likes it. Somebody else might like that. Like, you're taking that job from them. Quit it. Go do what you love and let them do it.
I love that. I love it. Bless all the accountants out there that are doing
They might like it. I don't know. Maybe they like it.
Absolutely. So I'm asking all of the speakers in here, you may well have touched on it because there is so many lovely juicy bits within your story, but if I was to ask you, what is the most audacious thing you've ever done in your life? So bold, daring, without restriction to prior ideas. What's the most audacious thing that Tara's done?
Well, I have to admit, it may appear somewhat negative, but it's not. It was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, but one of the most freeing, amazing. And for me, that was leaving the religion that I had been grown up in. I mean, I didn't know a soul. I had a very rich social network and I was in leadership in this church. And for me, walking away from that was extremely bold. I'm not a very anxious person. I was to the point of having panic attacks. I was so nervous of what everyone will think. It was terrifying. I mean, I lost life as I knew it. It would be like, just like dropping into Thailand and like, here we go. That's what it felt like to me. And it was very bold. It was very scary. I was gossiped about. I was judged. It was all of those things. But in my heart, I knew that I was doing right by me. And so I share that, even though it's maybe not the most like, yay, inspiring thing ever. For me, it was choosing myself and what felt right to me above what everyone, what all the rules of society were telling me that I should do, was one of the most empowering things I've ever done for myself. And I'm grateful. We're so grateful to old Tara for doing that. I'm like, good job, girlfriend. That took major courage. And for me personally, I'm not saying that religion is wrong. I'm just saying for me it is. And I'm so grateful that I made that choice for myself.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome one to choose. I think it's amazing because we can apply it to just about anything, whether it is the job we're in or whether it is a relationship that's just
Yep.
toxic, or
Totally.
whatever it is that is, we get into this place, and even if it's desperately uncomfortable, it's still our comfort zone.
Totally. And it's,
Yeah.
I think so many women go through that, relationships too, you know, getting divorced was oh, my poor kids. Oh, I'm financially comfortable. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so crazy. There's all these fears that come in. And I did that 3 months later. So this was a little bit of an insane time for Tara, and I had to challenge myself. I'm like, man, am I going crazy? Am I going through a midlife crisis? But it was like, no, like you have to do this. Go. It's time, and I think, man, even though it was really, really challenging, I'm so grateful that I did it. So I will say, like, obviously connect with your heart and do what's right. But if there's something pulling at you so hard and you're like, I have to do this for me, I know I have to, please have the courage to do it, because there's so much beauty on the other side waiting for you.
Oh my gosh. I think that's the theme for this beautiful interview, is that trusting your intuition, whether it's how we feed our body or these
Yes.
life-changing decisions, just trusting yourself. Trust yourself. Beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. I know you just added another gift in. So you have a couple of amazing things for the women that are tuning into this. Would you take a minute just to let us know what they are?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, what can I give them? I mean, at least to me, my whole mission is to help women feel empowered and to feel amazing in their bodies and to feel limitless. So I'm like, everything I've got. So I have a few options for you guys. I have my 7-day training plan. So that's just a training plan showing you how I train on the weekly. And then I have, if you want to try keto, I have a 7-day keto ignite program that's free. That has workouts and everything you need to get started on keto, a meal plan, recipes, all of it. And then I also have my Fit from Home that I mentioned that I'll also give you guys for free. So that one's all body weight stuff. And they're really fun workouts you can do anywhere. I was doing them outside a lot during the coronavirus. So I even had my kids joining with me. So all three of those, any of those that you guys want, they're all yours. I'll provide links so you guys can download those for free.
That's awesome. You're a treasure. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I have loved every minute of it. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, if only we could bottle all that vitality and energy. It's so inspiring. So what can we take action on? There was a lot of different nuggets of wisdom in there, whether we look at nutrition. And of course, everybody tuning into this interview is going to be at different places on their journey. There goes my dog. At different places on their journey. So regardless of where you're at, there's a few fabulous nuggets there that you can take away. One is, of course, look to nature first. What's going on in the natural world around you right now, depending on where you are in the globe. It could be any season. So what is growing out of the ground? What is growing on the trees? Start there, because, mostly plants is always a winner. There is no diet that is like avoid vegetables at all cost. I don't think I've never heard that one. So let's start there. That's where vitality and that, absolute density of nutrition starts. Movement, exercise, lifting weights, getting our heart rate up, feeling strong and vital in our body is so key. It's undeniable. No expert anywhere ever said, sit on the couch. It's the best thing you can do for your health. So whatever stage you're at, get up, start moving. If you're like me and you need that next level of inspiration, I'm going to get myself some weights. Look at Tara's beautiful gift in how we use our own body weight for resistance to get stronger there. There are no excuses, whether the gym is closed. Oh, my hair's collapsing. Whether the gym is closed where you are or not, whether you're locked in or not, whatever's going on, there is always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And of course, the other thing that we tapped into there was, don't forget the cold water therapy. That's the tap, tap, tap on the shoulder that I'm getting. Are you hearing that as well? And of course, we touched a little bit on Tara's journey and how she's growing this empire of a business in just a couple of short years, from ground zero, from nothing to over 6 figures in her first year and beyond. So if it's possible for others, it is possible for you. Where are you on your journey? What is something that you can take from this interview and put into action right now? All right, that's it from me today. So much love and bye for now. Mwah.